through muscle testing? Is that what
through
you
muscle tests. And I don't really calibrate vibration because this work is so great that it's just kind of automatic. Once you start working, once we start identifying, releasing, replacing with all the positive and the good, you're automatically going to raise your vibration. And we try to help you to maintain that high vibration, but life happens and experience happen. And that's why, we need to do energy work frequently until we can kind of get on the road to where we really want to be. Because you can't clear everything in an hour.
Yeah.
As nice as that would be, and you can't stop living. Okay, so if you don't ever want your energy to go down, I guess you'll just die. Because that's not the only way to stop, your energy from going like this. But you can get to a really great place and maintain for sure. But there's some work to be done.
Okay.
And all of us. I'm continuously working on myself, my family, clients I've had for years. It's not, maybe once or twice a year sometimes we get to that point. But it's just great to get through it. And some people want to learn how to do it themselves, and then that's great too.
Well, and life doesn't stop. So we're always going to have situational things happening to us that, like that interview with Denim Slade, might awaken a blueprint you didn't even know was there.
Right. And maybe we got one root, but then there was another branch that has another root. And so then we have to try to find that.
Yeah.
One thing I love about this is all of these things, the Dennis Slade thing, all of these things I believe work together. Working on it on a conscious level is just going to help you maintain a higher vibration. When you're expending energy to make your life greater, it's only going to raise your vibration and make your energy flow better.
I totally believe it. Now, I bet you there's some ladies that are going to listen to this and go, what is muscle testing? What are they talking about? For me, I've known muscle testing for years. So do you want to describe or explain what muscle testing is?
Yes, I would love to. I'm sure you've all heard of a lie detector test. Mm-hmm. And that is based on the concept that even though your mouth might be able to tell a lie, your body cannot, your muscles cannot. So when in the lie detector test, they can tell when a muscle is weak when a person is lying. And then when it's strong, when they're telling the truth. And that's the same thing we do in muscle testing. When it's a truth to that individual, it will test strong. When it's a lie or it's false, it will be weak. Mm-hmm. And so that is the premise, is that your spirit can't lie, and your spirit's connected to your body. And so, when you say, okay, let's just say, can you see my fingers? I'll just do this really fast. I'll give you a demonstration. Okay. So if I were to say Trina, I'll work on Trina for a minute, because energy knows no bounds. There's nothing that can stop energy. So even though Trina's at her house and I'm at my house, I can muscle test on Trina, for Trina on me. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So I'll say Trina's hair is blonde. Okay, and I just muscle tested my fingers, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's tight. Trina's hair is blonde. If I say Trina's hair is red, and I know how to do this, you just kind of have to practice, but I can even try to hold, I'm trying to hold as hard as I can, and my fingers break through, because that's a lie. Her hair is not red, it's blonde. Mm-hmm. and it's probably your natural color that you've just maintained. You've never been around that, I'm assuming.
Yes, I just maintain it.
You were born with blonde. I was
born blonde.
So it's very simple to differentiate between the truth and a lie, or false, what's not truth. Yeah. So by muscle testing, I've been trained, and I've been doing this since about 2003. I've been trained, and I keep going to training on how to identify different areas in the body and the spirit and the energy of where we need to go. And there's a huge map, and I just kind of go with the energy of where we need to go on it per person or individual to help them release the negative and get them on their path to wholeness. Yeah. So, I could spend days talking about all the options and all the wonderful things we can do in a session, but it's just great to have a tool that identifies truth. Yeah. So, and the truth in that being, And so sometimes it could be a truth to them, but it's really not. And we know how to figure that out too. So
Yeah.
it's great.
I love that. I just, in fact, went to a doctor. He's a chiropractor, but also does muscle testing this week. And he did some muscle testing on me because my thyroid medication is not working right for me. So it was really interesting because he wouldn't tell me what he was muscle testing. You know, he was testing me about sensitivities to the different supplements or medicines I'm taking. And he wouldn't tell me necessarily what he was testing me on. So my mind couldn't be like involved, I guess, or, you know, and I was in awe. I just sat there and went, wow, this cannot, I didn't make that up.
Yes.
I didn't make that up at all. And I was holding my arm as hard as I could. And I'm like, I mean, he'd be like, you're strong, strong. And then wham, it would go down. Like, for the love of Pete, you know, as soon as he'd bring whatever near me that my body is rejecting.
Yeah.
And Joanne, who's part of the group, she's the one that referred me to him. And she just, you know, our bodies read that energy. Our bodies know what it needs.
Right.
It's for us to choose to be connected, right? To that soul spirit side that can communicate with us.
Right.
Yeah.
I love this concept because truly our world is just tapping into it. And it's really exciting to me. There is so much good that can be done with this, that I feel like we're on the cusp of opening. And I think that's why there is a greater awareness, because I think we desperately need this kind of help in our lives, in the world that we live in.
I believe you're right. Totally. I love it. I'm excited for more people to learn about it and embrace it. So when you say muscle testing, they're like, huh, what? You know, they're like, oh yeah, I do that too. And I'm getting that more and more. I love that.
Yeah. And one thing I had a thought when you were saying, you know, you didn't even know what he was testing. Energy is so amazing. And it's not like you can read minds, but your energy is so intuitive. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people have had trauma that they don't want to talk to me about. And I respect that. And I say, you know what, we can clear this with you just thinking about it, mm-hmm. which I think is an amazing concept, because some people are scared to dive into the past. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what they need to recognize. This is very, it's just not that difficult. It's just very simple to say, okay, I'm thinking about an experience I had back in childhood that has not left me, but I don't want to tell you, can you clear it? And I can say, yes, we can figure that out. We can release that from your energy, even without you speaking it. The thing is, it just has to be identified, mm-hmm. recognized and identified in order to be released.
Okay.
So
I love that.
Kind of cool.
Oh, it's so freeing. So freeing. Okay, so I hear, and you've talked to me, and I still don't think I even fully understand the concept of chakras.
Oh, okay.
So do you want to talk about what chakras are? I'm sure the ladies have heard that word, you know.
Yes.
What are our chakras and what do you do with them?
Okay, I love it. Okay, chakras, they like to mention them sometimes when you're taking yoga. Maybe you'll hear the word chakra mentioned. Chakras are these little energy wheels. Think of them as little wheels. And they spin outside, just right outside your physical body. They start at your root chakra, which is right above your pubic bone. Okay. And they spin this way, and they each have their own color. They each cover a certain part of the body. There's 7 of them, beginning at your pubic bone, ending here on the top of your head, which is your 7th chakra, or your transcendent chakra, your connection to heaven. And they all have amazing affirmations. They all have a really important part in the energy flow that surrounds our body. And a lot of negative energy can come in when our chakras get weak, when they get down, when they're not spinning the right way. We get negative energy in there, and then that chakra gets stopped or stuck. Mm-hmm. And it just doesn't feel good. You just don't feel good. And so our chakras are just a really awesome part of our energy system that help us feel good, or they can If they're not working right, then we don't feel good. But it's just an energy flow. I mean, I would be happy to go through some specifics if you want.
Yeah,
About chakras. Let me just look this up quickly. I refer to this often because a lot of people do get negative energy stuck in their chakras.
So you can clear that through?
Yeah, just through a simple integration. We can clear it. Okay, I'll read you what I've learned about them. The word chakra translates from the Sanskrit or as disc, vortex, or wheel. So you think of it like a little wheel. Okay. The chakras are concentrated centers of energy. Each major chakra in the human body is a center of swirling energy positioned at one of 7 points from the base of your spine to the top of your head. Okay, so this is does that kind of explain what they are?
Yeah.
I think this is really cool. Where the meridian delivers the energy to the organs, the chakras bathe the organs in their energy. Oh. Okay, so the meridians deliver energy to the organs. The chakras bathe the organs in energy. So it's like a constant bath, like our baths we're taking.
Yes.
So each chakra supplies energy to specific organs and corresponds to a distinct aspect of your personality. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
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 Does that help?
There's so much for us to know. There's so much for us to know. I think the human body is so incredibly complex.
It is.
On more than just a medical level.
Yes, it is. But here's one thing I have to say is you don't even have to understand how this works in order for it to work for you. Mm-hmm. And I know that might be weird. I am a curious soul, so I love to know how it all works. And I dive into it and I take the time, but you don't even have to know. You can just know, rest assured that it's still going to work, even if you don't understand how it works.
Well, and that's true for me because I still didn't understand the chakras totally, and I still probably don't comprehend the depth of it, but you've worked on me and it's worked.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's true. It's very, very true. You don't have to understand all the moving parts and understand everything perfectly for it to come into balance.
Right.
So, yeah, I love that. So how can we stop negative emotions from derailing us? That was the phone call I made one time when I called you. Something happened to my family, and I was like, what? And you're like, your dad is owning your power. And I'm like, can you help me?
Well, I don't even remember what I did. I can't remember.
That's how impressionable it was on me, because I can even remember where I was at on the boulevard.
That's pretty cool. Well, I have to say that just getting into energy work, having a simple clearing session, opening up your energy, opening up the avenue is going to help a lot when you have negative emotions. We've all got to find a way to clear our energy. And whether the method that I use is for you, there's a lot of options out there, but we have to find a way to identify and release and replace that energy. You can't just say, this is what I'm feeling and pull it out and leave this hole. Because then you've got a hole and your energy will automatically fill that with something, and you want to make sure you fill whatever negative things you're pulling out with positives. Because positive energy always trumps negative energy, because the light is always greater than the darkness. And so we have to replace. We can't just go through, well, I know this is why I feel this, and so I'm going to get rid of this. But then what are you left with? Mm-hmm. Yes. So finding a practitioner is helpful, even just to get you started, even just to, and I'm not trying to promote myself. Go to simplyheal.com. There's a lot of practitioners out there that are more than willing to work with you, but I would love it if I could help you. I would love to help. That's my hope. My hope in doing this work is just to help people feel whole again. And I can say this here, feel connected to God, to the greatest source of power that there is. Mm-hmm. I believe that is his intention for us, to live this life fully and in wholeness, not debilitated by negative emotions that derail us and that bring us down. That's not his purpose. And if you're a Christian, you'll understand that, hopefully.
I just totally had a deja vu moment. I'm like, I've been here. I've done this. I've heard her say these exact
That's comforting
It's
for
so
me.
crazy. And I was thinking, I'm like, at the same moment as you're sharing all this, how we need that wholeness. I mean, that's kind of the backbone to Upkeep 3 and my program, and wanting women to recognize creating that wholeness for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and realizing that the feminine part of us that we've we've pushed down because the world masculates us.
And for generations, women have been pushed down.
Yes. And it's like, we need to learn to embrace that. It's our strength. It's where our strength comes from. And this that you're discussing just fits so perfectly with it all. I love it.
Yes.
This is awesome. I'm so excited about all of this. But that was weird. I'm like, I've heard this before. This is so cool. Okay. Sorry, ladies. I got off on a little tangent there.
We love those tangents.
So how does unresolved negative emotions lead to dis-ease, as I think Carol,
that's Louise Hay.
Louise had, okay,
yeah. They both mentioned that.
Say that. Dis-ease in the body.
Okay, that's a good question. I'll try to explain it so that everyone can understand this.
Okay.
The way I see it is anytime we have negative emotions and feelings, it leaves its mark. Mm-hmm. It stays with us unless we can quickly release it. And so a lot of these issues actually start at birth or even at conception or in the womb, our cells, when they're being formed. And this negative energy stops the flow of energy, in any of the systems, in all the cells. And so we are left with a disease. We are left with something until we can release that negative energy. And a lot of times it's fear from our birth. Say you had forceps when you were born. There's major trauma with that situation. And so the great thing is we can clear that. We can make the cells whole again. And it seems like, oh, come on. But it's true. You can completely free your cells of all that negative energy that you had built up and put there all your life through your experiences. And a lot of times, most of the time, of no fault of your own, just because the experiences you had being raised with siblings, with teachers at Sunday school, with peers. I mean, there's just, and as a child, as you experience life and your little childhood spirit's trying to decipher all of this, how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
And so having this tool to release these negative energies will help disease to be released as well, and your cells and your whole body and your spirit be repaired to its perfect whole state.
Okay, I just had a huge aha.
Cool.
So my daughter Kylie, who you know very well.
Yes, I love Kylie.
She is the only one out of my 5 that he used forceps on. Okay. And back when Tylen was leaving on his mission, she was helping loading chairs into a trailer, and she hit her temple right here super hard on a rod. And she's had, since then, anytime she gets a headache, it just goes right there. And even to this last year, this happened, back when Tylen went on his mission, which was many years ago. Just last year, she went and got a CT scan to see if there is something in there. And it just hit me. I'm like, I wonder.
Have her call me.
I'm going to have her call you. I was thinking, re-injure it, and now that's a source of pain for her when she gets a headache.
That's where her stress is going, tension. Yeah, it's real. It is real. So, and that is, that's a perfect example. I love that illustration of how the emotions that came with that, the fear of, oh my gosh, here's the metal thing coming in around my head and trying to yank me out, and this little spirit is just afraid. And it made that connection. Those cells were, probably, I think every cell in the body, when one is damaged, they kind of all get that emotional damage on it. Mm-hmm. But it's repairable.
That is so
repairable.
I'm going to call her right after we're done. I'm excited. I'm like, because the CT scan came back perfect. beautiful inside and out.
Right.
So, but there's something there. There is something there.
Right. And that is real. And that's really frustrating too, when in your own body, your body well, something's not right. And there's nobody can show you what's wrong.
I think that, ladies, that's something I've learned because I have some physical aspects I've dealt with through my life that doctors can't help me with. They it's an unknown, and anything that ends in an ina, it's like they've just made it up because they didn't know what it was.
I know.
So I'm just saying. So it's so important that and I've read in so many books now that I'm learning about myself and my health and the emotional health, that we are our best doctors.
Yes.
We are.
Yes, we are. We have to be.
Yes. And we need to trust ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Trust those intuitions. If you have a feeling something isn't right, but he's telling you or somebody else is telling you, you're fine, your levels are great, but you keep feeling something's off, trust yourself.
Right.
We're not all meant to fit inside their little scales.
For sure.
That
is for sure.
I love that.
Trusting your intuition is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And when you let go of fear, a lot of times I think fear dominates our life on so many levels. And when we learn, that's another thing I love about this work, is it helps you let go of the fear and truly live your life. And when we can let go of that fear, then we are much more in tune with our intuition. A lot of times it's our fear that talks us out of our intuition, that's trying to tell us something. So releasing the fear and finding where that fear began is very freeing and very helpful in being your own doc, knowing your body, knowing your spirit, knowing what is really going on with all of you.
And we all know, if whoever has any type of spirituality, religious belief, who's the father of fear?
That's right. Exactly.
And
exactly.
Yeah, there's no good that comes from fear.
There isn't. Fear is never a motivating factor.
Not at all. Not at all.
Fear is one of the lower. Fear, guilt, and shame are the three lowest vibrating emotions on the scale. Fear, guilt, and shame. So,
yeah, and I love how you mentioned that shame's the lowest, forgiveness is the highest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think how important it is that forgiveness, we remember that it's to forgive ourselves as well, and be forgiving of ourselves, that we're not perfect.
So vital to good health and everything.
Yeah, it's imperative.
It's imperative really the ultimate goal for all of us is to be at peace, right? We came from a place of peace. We want to experience this life in peace. The only way to do that is to forgive others, and especially ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so true. Okay, so we kind of talked about this a little bit, but how can we keep our body aligned with the blueprint for perfect health that's encoded into every cell? So, we want to stay aligned, but like you said, we're going to get out of alignment. And is that just basically kind of what you already mentioned, just re-looking at everything, staying, clearing that negative energy